Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Every year before the season, Pro Football Focus does their position rankings. And I don't, y'all, if you listen to the show, you know I'm not a guy that sits here. We make fun of oftentimes the random summertime list. We have this thing we do. It's feigned indignance from sports talk radio show for random summertime lists. We just mock summertime lists. This is a little different because this isn't just like someone's opinion. These are PFF grades from last year. So it's almost like a reminder of, hey, here's how these players did a season ago. And it was interesting to me because today we saw Pro Football Focus publish their list of the top centers from a season ago. Actually, forgive me, this was a little bit ago, but they published their list of the top centers, and I ran across it today. I think maybe Saints Wire, somebody had recycled this. And it was interesting because I was scanning it, and a couple of interesting ones first and foremost. How about Ethan Posick, former LSU Tiger, who's now with the Cleveland Browns? Shout out to Ethan. He's a traction made, traction proud. Get to see Ethan working out at traction there in the offseason. They got Ethan Posick rated as the 7th best center in the entire NFL. Creed Humphrey, incidentally, from the Chiefs, number 1. My goodness, I remember Mike Detillier for 2 years lauding Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma. And it was surprising when Creed Humphrey chose to go back to school for an extra year, but he certainly panned out there in Kansas City. So Creed Humphrey 1, Jason Kelsey 2, Corey Linsley 3, Frank Ragnow, Tyler Lindenbaum, David Andrews, and then Ethan Posick 7. And the reason Posick is even more interesting, you feel great for that guy, is Posick was drafted by Seattle, and they had him playing guard, and he just never really stuck at guard in Seattle. And as a free agent, of course, went to Cleveland. They moved him to center, and he's been fantastic. And that's primarily where he played during his time at LSU, although I believe he played all 5 positions at some point during his LSU career. Incidentally, former LSU Tiger Lloyd Cushenberry also on this list at number 26. So not great. They note that he struggled a lot as a rookie, just a 40.5 grade at Pro Football Focus. But he's gotten much better as a pass blocker throughout his career. While he's continued to struggle as a run blocker, his pass blocking last year was 13th among centers in the NFL. So much better there as Cushenberry continues to try to improve. So I was looking for Erik McCoy, and I think our general feeling on Erik McCoy is that he's been a fantastic center. Remember, the Saints drafted Erik McCoy when really out of necessity, when before the 2019 season, out of necessity, they drafted Erik McCoy. So when Max Unger suddenly retired, they were in need of a center. So they didn't have a first-round pick. Their second-round pick that year they used on McCoy and played him at center. A year later, of course, they drafted Cesar Ruiz, who was a center at Michigan, but Ruiz continued playing guard. I think you all know this story, just a refresher. Because Drew Brees came back for the 2020 season, and instead of giving Brees his third center in as many years, they kept McCoy at center, and he had played exceptionally well. So I think we've all just kind of conditioned our brains to think Erik McCoy is a great center, and he really had been. But so seeing McCoy ranked 15th, graded 15th, was surprising to me. Just right smack dab in the middle of the pack. I mean, the Saints gave Erik McCoy a $60 million contract a year ago. And the write-up from Pro Football Focus says McCoy's career has been trending in the wrong direction since he posted a 78 PFF grade as a rookie. But he's still young enough that he can get things back on track, especially with his past 2 seasons disrupted by injury. And that really has been the issue with Erik McCoy. When he's been on the field, he's been very good. The problem is that he has all of a sudden sort of been bitten by the injury bug with the New Orleans Saints the last 2 seasons, as the entirety of the offensive line has for the Saints, unfortunately. At some point, they've all been injured except this past year for Cesar Ruiz, who was surprisingly durable despite all of the flack that he gets a lot. But McCoy's an interesting one because I look at this and I go, have we been sort of unjustly hyping Erik McCoy? Again, was very good as a rookie and played in every game his first 2 seasons in the NFL. But in 2021, he missed 4 games. And in 2022, he missed 4 games. So maybe that's a part of it. I mean, when you injure your calf in the first game or second game of the season and you miss a month and try to come back, you're still not going to be certainly 100%, and maybe that's contributed to some of McCoy's issues. But then I look around at some of this ancillary evidence with McCoy and I say, are the Saints just maybe kind of preparing for the possibility that McCoy doesn't improve? Like, is it on their radar that he has been struggling a bit more than we thought? I mean, he signed a 5-year, $60 million contract before the 2022 season. So this is his second year of that deal. And the Saints do have, by the way, an out after this year. They do have an off-ramp on that contract after this year, whereby they would save, as a post-June 1 designation next year, the Saints could save $10 million against the cap with McCoy. Now, he's not slated to be a free agent until 2028, so his contract runs through 2027. But they do have an out after this season if they want to off-ramp from the Erik McCoy deal. But I really think with McCoy, it's more of a question of, can he stay healthy? And if he can he play at the level that he once did? And if not, what are your options? Remember, the Saints did not pick up Cesar Ruiz's 5th-year option. And that's something where you could look and say, is Ruiz an option at center? Remember, the Saints also, just earlier this month, added Billy Price. Billy Price is a former first-round pick who's had several stops in the NFL, but has played a ton. And that certainly feels like an insurance policy against a potential McCoy injury. I want to be very clear. I think Erik McCoy, when he's healthy, he's been magnificent. Drew Brees lauded him. If it's good enough for Drew Brees, we should all just fall in line and be cool with it. But I think if you're an NFL franchise and you are not at least always looking at your blind spots, if you're not aware of your blind spots and you're constantly checking them, then you are negligent. I mean, you've got to be aware of the fact that maybe you gave Erik McCoy this big contract a year ago because he had been really good at the start of his career, but maybe, just maybe, he's missed games the last couple of years. Are you going down a similar path that you did with Andrus Peat, where you gave a young player that second contract and injuries and a variety of different things allowed him maybe not to play up to the standard of that contract? We all hope McCoy is fantastic and becomes an all-pro center and plays out this contract in New Orleans and finishes his career in New Orleans. I think that's what you want for every player that you draft, especially when you draft with the first pick that you have in that respective draft, which was number 48 overall for McCoy back in 2019. But I think it's at least something that needs to be put on our radar. If the Saints are going to keep adding players at that position, you see that the contract is structured such that they have an out after this year, and clearly there's metrics that suggest he hasn't been playing great and he's been injured. It's at least something that you file away and say, I'm going to watch that this year to see how it goes. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.